Hey, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Mike.
I'm just wondering, who was your favorite teacher at any time in school?
I would have to go with my high school history teacher, Mr. Nargang. He treated me and the other students like we were friends, which made our classroom environment really fun, and he inspired me to study history.
Well, that's awesome, and I'm sure you did really well in his class because of that experience. Yeah. And isn't it amazing that when we connect with somebody, we learn a whole lot better from them?
Yeah, so our big idea today is that Jesus invited others to learn from him. And now we're going to look at a story where he had to accommodate a huge group of people to try and teach them when he didn't have the internet or a big screen or a chalkboard or anything to help him out. Let's watch.
So isn't that hard to... Huh? Isn't it? My friends, it is fantastic to see you again. I hope you're excited to be back. I want to start, as always, by sharing a story. As a kid, I used to go to all these youth conferences and things like that where people would always be dancing. There would always be a lot of dancing. We would always form these dance circles. They still happen to this day. And there would always be people who could break dance. And I was amazed by this. I wanted to break. I remember seeing this. I was like, I gotta learn to break dance. And I gotta learn to do that because it blew my mind when I would see it. Everybody would be chanting their names, everybody screaming. It would bring so much joy, so much energy to the situation. And so I remember seeing that and being like, I gotta learn to break dance because I am the worst dancer in the world. I have no idea what happens when my feet touch the floor on the dance floor. And so I really wanted to do that. I saw them and I really wanted to do that. Jesus didn't just have this way and connection to God and sort of keep it all to himself. No, Jesus wanted to share, and he did. He shared this message with as many people as he possibly could. It's like we learned something really cool and we're so excited about it. We're so energized by it that we want to go out and share it with as many people as possible. And today's big idea is that Jesus invited others to learn from him. So we're going to jump into God's story and we're going to join it at Luke chapter 5, verse 1 to 11. What's happened is Jesus has just healed a whole bunch of people, which is amazing, and that's a whole nother story for another day. But people would have started to know and understand that he's more than just a good teacher. So that's where we're going to pick up our story. So let's read what it says. One day as Jesus was preaching on the shore of the Sea of Galilee, great crowds pressed in on him to listen to the word of God. So just picture that. Jesus is standing at the shore of the Sea of Galilee. The Sea of Galilee was actually a freshwater lake. So the wind's probably blowing. Jesus is standing there. There's people watching and all these crowds begin to move in to hear what he has to say. No microphone, no sound, no lighting. Just a voice as he declares these truths over the people. So let's read and pick up the story again. He noticed 2 empty boats at the water's edge, for the fishermen had left them and were washing their nets. Stepping into one of the boats, Jesus asked Simon, its owner, to push it out into the water. So he sat in the boat and taught the crowds from there. So imagine that again. Jesus gets into Simon's boat. Simon's probably looking at him wondering, what is going on? Where is he going? And what Jesus does is he almost creates this stage as he's about to teach everybody. When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Now go out where it is deeper and let down your nets to catch some fish." "Master," Simon replied, "we worked hard all last night and didn't catch a thing. But if you say so, I'll let the nets down again." And this time, their nets were so full of fish, they began to tear. A shout for help brought their partners in the other boat, and soon both boats were filled with fish and on the verge of sinking. Whoa, okay, so Jesus says to Simon, after he's finished talking, he says, "Simon, take your boats out and go fishing again." And Simon's like, "No, well, hold on a minute. We've just done this all night and we caught nothing." He's probably pretty frustrated. He's like, "Why are you asking us to do this again?" But he recognizes who Jesus is and he trusts him and he says, "Okay, we're gonna go do it." And we know in the story that they do this and their boat is overflowing, that they have to call their friends in and they have so many fish they can't believe it. That's an amazing story. When Simon Peter realized what had happened, he fell to his knees before Jesus and said, "Oh Lord, please leave me. I'm such a sinful man." For he was awestruck by the number of fish they had caught, as were the ones with him. His partners, James and John, the sons of Zebedee, were also amazed. Jesus replied to Simon, "Don't be afraid. From now on, you'll be fishing for people. Fish for people? That kind of sounds weird, but what Jesus was doing, he was using a metaphor that these guys would understand. Remember, these are fishermen, and they would have known what he meant. He meant that they're gonna go bring people to him to hear this good news. He was gonna be their rescuer, he was gonna be their savior, and he was gonna tell them about God's kingdom. So what did the men do? Let's read and see. And as soon as they landed, they left everything and followed Jesus. We just gotta note something here. In order to follow Jesus, these men had to give up everything. They didn't say, okay, hold on, just wait till I'm a little bit older, or even let me finish my job right now or whatever. They had to give up everything to follow Jesus. They were gonna live, love, serve with him, and learn more about who he was. And that is why Jesus invited others to learn from him. We can learn from him as well and share that with others too. If you haven't yet made that choice, but you want to follow Jesus, I would love for you to ask somebody, join with somebody, maybe your small group leader, maybe one of your friends who already knows Jesus, and just begin to ask them what it means and how you could follow Jesus. My friends, thanks so much for letting me join you guys during this series. I hope that you've been able to take something, whether when we looked at when Jesus was a kid, when he was 12 years old, when he was baptized, when he was tempted, and then when he was teaching others. I've so enjoyed reading this and learning with you guys. This is the end of this series, but I really do hope to see you guys again soon. Thanks so much.
How cool was that? Jesus taught that large crowd. They clearly connected with him because they stayed to learn more. And then a bunch of guys got a real practical lesson on who Jesus is by catching a whole bunch of fish, more than they could even handle.
Yeah, and I so appreciate that he didn't just tell them the information, he gave them a hands-on, practical experience, which for me is so much more helpful than just hearing something. If I can touch it and see it, that helps me a ton.
Well, then you are going to love this next video, but I'm not gonna give you any more clues. Watch how quickly you can figure this out.
I'm John, I'm 16, and I'm a speedcuber, which means I solve Rubik's Cubes in official competitions all over the world. I've always been into robotics, and one day I saw a video of a robot solving a Rubik's Cube, and I was like, whoa, that's sick. So I decided that I would try to make a robot to solve the Rubik's Cube, because I was like, oh man, I'll never be able to solve that, but a robot can. But my robot didn't work, so then I had a mixed up Rubik's Cube on my desk, so I went online, found some instructions, and after about a week, I was able to solve the cube in a minute and a half. After that, I saw videos of like the world records, and there's people solving the cube in 5 or 6 seconds, and I kind of wanted to get there one day because I'm somewhat of a competitive person. So I started learning more tricks, and my time slowly went down, you know, a minute, 30 seconds. And then after 6 months, I discovered there's competitions for this, so I kind of wanted to go and see how good I was. After going to a few competitions, I really wanted to make it onto the podium because I thought I was at that level already. And there were multiple competitions in a row where I kept placing fourth many times. And one day I sort of broke through the glass ceiling and I got on the podium in the 4x4 event. I came 3rd place. So that was really fulfilling for me. And I've continued to get on the podium ever since, and right now I'm sort of gearing up for the World Championships, which are next summer, and I would like to definitely place there. When I solve the Rubik's Cube behind my back or blindfolded, how it works is I've assigned each piece on the Rubik's Cube a letter, so A, B, C, D, and then I would take the different letters and string them together. For example, if I had JSAD, it would be Jesus after death. And then I would just create a really crazy story in my head, which makes it easier to remember. The crazier the story, the longer I can remember it. And then those letters are the information I need to know. I need to solve this piece, and then I go through and eventually the Rubik's Cube is solved.
All right, so the first thing we're trying to do, we want to get one layer, and this is the first step to solving the Rubik's Cube, and it's a big stepping stone. So I
like to inspire younger kids to solve the Rubik's Cube, or preteens, because I think it's something really cool that everyone should get into. I share online through email and text with a couple of kids I know, but I think the biggest place I do it is at Urban Promise, and they're an organization that works with inner city youth in Toronto. I think when a lot of kids see me do the Rubik's Cube, they say, whoa, that's so cool, but at the same time they're like, oh man, that must be impossible, I'll never be able to do that. But after I sit down with them for a while, they see it isn't the most difficult thing in the world, and everyone can really do it, and solving the Rubik's Cube is something everyone should strive for. So I think with the Rubik's Cube, you'll never really find two people who are at the same stage, and that's the same way with a faith journey. You'll never find two people who are exactly at the same place. And I think that even someone who looks like they have it all figured out, whether that's with the Rubik's Cube or with God, there's always more to learn for those people. And they can even learn from someone who might look like they have less experience than them, and everyone can sort of teach each other and journey together.
Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Clearly, I'm not John. That guy was fast and so talented. He could do it behind his back, blindfolded. I'm at a loss for words,
Yeah,
literally.
I thought you'd like that video. And what I love about John is that he's just an ordinary, down-to-earth teenager who loves to share his knowledge with other people and clearly has a heart for Jesus.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm gonna have to keep watching that video so I can try and figure this thing out.
Yeah, sounds good. Now why don't we break up into our small groups to find out how we can apply what we learned into our own lives.